नमो वितरागाय नमो अरिहन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो वसायाणं नमो लोय सवसाहूणम् ऐसो पंचनमुक्कारो सव पावपणासनो मंगलाणं च सवेसिं परमं हवै मंगलम् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय जय सच्चिदानंद।
Jai Satchidanand. In the path of evolution, after developing from the lowest form of life of Nigod, all of us have spent infinite lives journeying from one-sensed organisms to five-sensed organisms. Even after coming to the human life form, we have gone through infinite life cycles of birth and death. Despite having been in the ignorant state in the worldly life, every moment we were only searching for happiness. And what kind of happiness? Eternal, permanent happiness. The beginning of that very permanent happiness is self-realization. And to eternally dwell in permanent happiness is absolute knowledge. After attaining self-realization, we too are progressing on the path of absolute knowledge. And as a result of our merit karma of infinite lives, this incredible path to liberation has opened through the Akram Vignani.
માણસ હોય છે ને તેના કરતા બીજ થઈ બીજને ચંદ્રમાં દેખો ધીમે ધીમે ત્રીજ થશે ચોથ થશે આ બધું પૂનમ થાય એટલે બધું સંપૂર્ણ થઈ જાય છે. મૂળ વસ્તુ આ પ્રાપ્ત થઈ અને આનંદ ઉત્પન્ન થયો. હું શુદ્ધાત્મા લક્ષ આખો દાડો રહ્યું ને એની મેરેજ આવે છે કે આપણે યાદ કરવું પડે. હે સ્વાભાવિક આ સહજ માર્ગ છે ને સહજ માર્ગ છે એટલે જ્ઞાની પુરુષ જાતે હોય સહજ ભાઈ નહીં તો પછી બધું ભટેક ભટેક કરવા. હવે આના હાથવી રાખજો આ બહુ સરસ ઊંચો માર્ગ છે ને. આત્મા દિવસે દિવસે બીજમાં ત્રીજ થશે ચોથ થશે પાંચમ થશે એમ કહે પૂર્ણિમા સુધી પહોંચી જશે.
Now for countless lifetimes we have been searching for eternal bliss, bliss that is eternal and lasts forever in every moment.
It is such that there is an entire process from Atma Gnan, the knowledge of the self, to Keval Gnan, absolute knowledge. There is ignorance of the self on this side. As long as you believe, I am Chandu, I am from Surendranagar, I am his father, I her husband, I am his son. As long as you believe all of this to be true, you really believe yourself to be Chandu, till then you are still on the shore of ignorance. Now you are rowing desperately to go from the shore of ignorance towards the shore of knowledge. Some may have used a paddle, some may have used a surfboard or a boat or a steamer. You tried everything, yet you were not able to reach the shore. You have been lost in the ocean. Now, what does Akram Vignan do? It picks you up from the boat or from wherever you are and brings you directly to the shore of knowledge in a rocket. It brings you directly to the shore of knowledge. That is why it is known as Akram, stepless. Do you understand?
I understand.
Then there is no need for you to keep rowing after that. You have been given the agnas. Based on those agnas, now you have reached the shore. Your house is across from you. You just have to reach there. You can reach there with the agnas that we have shown you, but the ocean is gone forever.
अहो कड़ी काड़े अद्भुत आश्चर्य सर्जाया ज्ञानी कृपाए स्वरूपना लक्ष्य पमाया अहो कड़ी काड़े अद्भुत आश्चर्य सर्जाया
આ બધું નીકળી ક્યાંથી જશે?
એ અજાયબી છે. આજે આ વર્લ્ડમાં 10 લાખ વર્ષમાં નથી બન્યું એવું આ બન્યું છે. અને વિધિન 1 hour ક્રોધ માન માયા લોભ બધા જતા રહે એક જ કલાકમાં. જો લાખ અવતારે જાય એવું નથી. આ તો એક 11મું આશ્ચર્ય છે. તેથી કહી દઉં છું તમને. આ નિમિત્ત થી બની શકે. સમજો ને, જ્ઞાની પુરુષના નિમિત્ત તરીકે ભગવાન પ્રગટ થઈ ગયેલા મહી દાદા ભગવાન તો પ્રગટ થયેલા છે. હું તો એમ પટેલ છું. શું છું? કારણ હું દાદા ભગવાન કહેવાત, પણ 308 બાર પૂરા થાય ને 356 ઉપર ઉભી રહ્યું છે. એટલે 4 ડિગ્રી નાપાસ થયો છું. નાપાસ થાય તો કામ લાગ્યો ને તમને બધાને? તમને બધાને કામ લાગ્યો કે નહીં? અને હજુ લાગશે ને?
What is it in the Gnan Vidhi that causes a transformation? We cannot believe that such a thing is possible. It is such that if all of these lights are on and all of these fans are on, and if you turn one off, then turn another off, then turn another off, you just want to turn them all off. But if there is an electrical engineer and he finds the main switch and turns that off, then would everything turn off or not? Dada Bhagwan has found this main switch and turned it off for us. And if you try to turn each and every light off and each and every fan off slowly, one by one, first you turn one projector off, then you turn the other projector off, then you turn one fan off. In addition, some of the switches may have become loose. So if you turn this switch off and go to the next, then when you return, it would be on again. So it is difficult. And our Dada Bhagwan has shown us the main switch, direct. And then he has shown us 5 switches. To turn on some of the fans, use this switch. To turn on the lights, use this switch. To turn on the heater, use this switch. To turn on the AC, use this switch. And if you don't want to use anything, then use this switch to turn everything off. You can also turn everything on at once if you like. The one who shows us all the switches is called an engineer, an electrical engineer. Similarly, Dada is called a Vignani, or a scientist of the self. There is this much of a difference between a Gnani and a Vignani. Gnanis exist on the kramic or step-by-step path, and when they become a Tirthankar, that is considered the state of a Vignani. But someone like Dada manifests rarely, as an exception. He did not pass the test of Keval Gnan, but he did study it. And as someone who did not pass, he would say, "We are a Keval Gnani student who did not pass." Now that Vignan, or spiritual science, opened up for him, so he could give it to others. He didn't have to show it to everyone, but he gave everyone a shortcut in the form of the 5 agnas. These agnas are such that they cause attachment, abhorrence, anger, pride, deceit, greed, egoism, and minus to dissolve and empty out. So in the Gnan Vidhi, he gave the Jagrati, or the awakened awareness of the self, and in the Agnas, he gave such a thing that ensures no more charging of new karma. I'll give you an example. If you want to use a fire pan, then you can pick it up using tweezers, can't you? You will not get burned, and you will get your work done. You have tongs, tweezers, you have instruments to pick things up. If we give you such an instrument, then you can work with fire and not get burned, right? So Akram Vignan has given you 5 agnas by which you can carry out your work in this worldly life. If you carry out the work with these 5 agnas, then you won't get burned. This is the path we have found.
Niruma, there are lots of talks in Jainism about when a living being or a soul, whatever you want to call it, once it attains samkit, the right belief, then it can progress speedily towards liberation. So how can a living being know that he has attained the right belief? And can he fall after having attained the right belief, or does he just keep progressing ahead?
There are 3 types of samkit. One is upsham samkit, the right belief that remains for a very short time. The second one is kshayak samkit, the right belief that comes and goes. And the third one is kshayak samkit, the right belief that prevails continuously. Upsham samkit is the first kind. It comes at the 4th stage of spiritual development. Self-realization can happen, but veils of ignorance come back over it. Those veils remain for a very long time. Just like a burning piece of coal gets covered in ashes. You cannot tell from the outside. But it remains dormant for a long time until the wind blows the ashes off and the flames arise and start burning again. That is how this is. Upsham samkit means the right belief has been achieved, but then it becomes veiled for such a long time, for so many lifetimes. Some will not even remember that they are the self for millions of lifetimes. However, if the experience of the self touches him even once, then he has been approved for liberation. Therefore, it is said that the amount of time that a mustard seed can be balanced on a cow's horn, if one becomes the form as a self and says, I am pure soul for that much time, then he has attained upsham samkit. He has been approved for liberation. And when the right belief prevails continuously, that is called kshayak samkit, whereas the other one comes and goes. So when the force of karma arises, some of the karma of the relative self have been destroyed, some have been suppressed, and some have emptied out. When one prevails between these two, it is called kshayak. And kshayak means that it has all emptied out. It is called kshayak. So the conviction of the self remains continuously here. It remains in the form of conviction continuously. The awareness comes and goes, however the conviction that I am a pure soul remains continuously after attaining this Gnan. Therefore it is referred to kshayak. He will not fall back. Whereas in upsham, he falls back. The veils of ignorance come back. In the chromic step-by-step path, he falls from the 11th stage of spiritual development and ends up back at the first. In the chromic path, this can happen. He can reach the 11th stage of spiritual development and fall back. Whereas in the akram path, one cannot fall. It will take him straight to the 12th stage. The conviction that I am a pure soul never leaves. This is the biggest lottery of liberation, if we can understand it. The self is attained in just 2 hours. We haven't done anything for it. That poor fellow had done so much for it, Balbir Singh. If we had to do what he did, we would say, keep your liberation to yourself. He had such a yearning for it. In the chromic path, this is necessary. It is absolutely needed. Such should be the worship and reverence for the Guru. It should be more than this. Eklavya's Guru asked for his thumb and he gave it happily. Whereas we will tell the Guru, give me yours. I won't give you mine, you give me yours. This is how things are right now, in the current time of Kali Yuga. That is why the Akram path manifested in this era, so that none of these things would be necessary. We would not be able to succeed on the Kramic path, because we haven't brought such a stock with us. Dada himself would say, had I tried to take you all on the Kramic path, none of you would have made it. What is the Kramic path like? It is to dig a deep foundation and then build a palace on it. All kinds of tools are needed. Dada says, had we made people do that, they would have dropped the tools and run away. Instead, he has given us a ready-made palace, without any effort on our part. That is called akram. The kramic path is always there, but the akram path manifests occasionally. It is the path of directly realizing the soul, nothing else. We attain the self directly, and then we have to clear the worldly interactions with the 5 agnas.
જ્ઞાનની સાથે અનુભવ લક્ષ્ય ને પ્રતીતિ ત્રણેય સાથે છે. શું છે? નિરંતર લક્ષ્ય છે, નિરંતર પ્રતીતિ છે, સાહેબ સંકેત છે. આ શું છે? એક ક્ષણવાર પ્રતીતિ જાય નહીં. તમે નિરંતર હું સિદ્ધાર્થમાં છું લક્ષ્ય છે.
નિરંતર ના રે, પણ પરિસ્થિતિઓ આગળ ખબર પડી જાય કે આપણે છૂટા છીએ, એટલે નિરંતર માં સભાનતા કઈ બધો
લક્ષ્ય જતું રહે, પ્રતીતિ અંદર હોય જ.
એટલા માટે આવતું હશે.
પ્રતીતિ હોય માટે લક્ષ્ય આવે છે. કારણ લહેર નાખેલો હોય તો લાઈટ થાય નહીં.
એ વાત કરી.
એટલે નિરંતર પ્રતીતિ છે, સાહેબ સંકેત છે અને લક્ષ્ય. અને જો અહીંયા આગળ બેઠા હોય ને આત્મા સ્વાદ આવે નહીં, અંદર સ્વાદ ઉત્પન્ન થાય.
એ તદ્દન ખરી વાત.
હા.
Deepak Bhai, here Dada has said, what is the sign of someone who has attained samkit? When everyone in the home does wrong, but he makes it right, making everything right is a sign of someone who has attained samkit. Can you please explain this? Here we say that Mahatmas have attained samkit, but conflicts and disputes still arise.
That is the filled stock of karma, and he repents for that. Only if he has attained samkit would he turn back. And before it used to happen 100%. Now it happens 25% or 20% or 5%. So it keeps decreasing.
That is true, Deepak Bhai.
So it is decreasing. He is turning back. To go from the intense heat to the intense cold, there is going to be a transit period. So the one who has attained samkit means that they are going towards the self. Just like if someone leaves for Vadodara, a city in India, does he have to let go of Ahmedabad, or will it happen on its own?
It would happen on its own.
Similarly, if he goes towards the self, then in this worldly life, I am correct, my viewpoint is correct, he starts loosening his grip on these. Why does one get into conflicts? Just like there are reasons for getting into clashes, the reason for conflicts is that he holds on to some worldly thing due to ignorance. He gets into conflicts due to his ego or due to his minus for relative things. So now relative things are being devalued. Why? When one goes towards the self, the value or the illusory attachment for those things reduce. So the reasons for conflicts are reducing, and therefore conflicts are also reducing. So all of our Mahatmas have indeed attained samkit. That is why their conflicts are reducing. For many, their conflicts have gone 100%, and for others, 5 or 25%. If you ask them, they'll say that earlier there were 1,000 conflicts, and now there are only 100. And then it will reduce from 100 to 25 to 10 to 5 to 2. Earlier, there were 5 conflicts a day, and now he says that there are only a couple of conflicts the entire year. This is a great state, samkit. Everyone gains confidence because with Dada's Gnan, their worldly conflicts have left. Anger, suffering, miseries, worries have left. So this state of samkit is very significant. Even if one briefly attains samkit on the kramic path, a great state can be experienced. Whereas we have attained kshayak samkit, so very speedy progress. Speedy meaning, in 5 to 10 years, a great deal of improvement can be seen. It cannot be seen in one day, but it can be seen after a few years.
So what does the one who has attained samkit have that he can turn the wrong into right?
There is a reason for that. He stops finding faults in others, He begins seeing his own faults. He begins seeing the other person as flawless. He feels that he wants to become free of this worldly life. He doesn't want to hold on to any relative matters. Earlier, he would fight thinking, I am right. But then he concluded, both who fight suffer. So what's the benefit? So he says, fine, you are right. If that brings you peace, I will adjust for the sake of your happiness. He does penance. So in this way, it is due to a lack of understanding that people hold on to their viewpoint in the worldly life. But now that grip is loosening, so conflicts and disputes come to an end.
અહીં સોલ્યુશન આવી ગયું, નિશંક બન્યા. નહીં તો જગતમાં કોઈ માણસ આત્મા સંબંધમાં નિશંક થઈ શકે નહીં. બીજી બાબતમાં નિશંક થાય. છોકરા અને છોકરાની બાબતમાં કે વાઈફની બાબતમાં શંકા પડી હોય તો આપણે સમજણ પાડીએ નિશંક થાય. પણ આત્મા સંબંધ નિશંક થાય જ નહીં. આપણે નિશંક થયા છે માટે એક કામ થઈ ગયું. શું થયું? શંકા જ ગઈ. શું થયું?
Then it says, the one whose give and take in worldly matters has ended, he is said to have achieved the self without a doubt. What does this mean?
I want to do this. I want to renounce this and acquire that. None of this has remained. The give and take in worldly matters has ended. That is, acquiring and renouncing things have come to an end. Because the ego that had to be renounced has been renounced, and the real form of the self, which had to be acquired, has been acquired. So the hassle of acquisition and renunciation has ended. The input and output, the give and take in worldly matters has ended. And I am the pure soul. So the self has been attained without a doubt.
So that is called kshayak samkit?
Yes, that is called kshayak samkit. Kshayak samkit by the real viewpoint. Samkit by the real viewpoint. And that samkit is such that the internal state of dwelling in the non-self complex has come to an end. I am Mangla, I am doing this, I want to do that, I want to give up this, I want to achieve this, I want to acquire that. Now all of this has come to an end. I have become the self, the pure soul.
Pujya Shri, kshayak samkit means that which doesn't leave once it is attained, right?
Yes, it won't leave now.
So when I wake up in the morning, I remember that I am a pure soul. So that is called kshayak samkit?
That, kshayak samkit, that is why all this comes back in our awareness. Kshayak samkit means that the conviction with relation to the pure soul, the original self, has set in. And that conviction is 100%. That means it will not leave until we go to liberation. Since it has been given to us through grace, if we follow the 5 agnas to protect it, the conviction will become strong, very strong. And then the jagrati will increase, and then the experience will also increase. That experience is called kshayak Gnan, the experience that prevails continuously. In fact, it can be called keval Gnan. Kshayak darshan, the vision that prevails continuously, means absolute vision. And experience means keval Gnan. So the degrees of keval Gnan will continue to increase towards the self as we follow the 5 agnas.
It is written here that this is similar to what Lord Krishna had.
Yes, we have reached that state of kshayak samkit.
એક સહાયક સંકેત કહેવાય. કૃષ્ણ ભગવાન જે હતું ને એક સહાયક સંકેત કહેવાય. નિરંતર પ્રતીતિ. હું આત્મા છું એ નિરંતર રાત્રે જાગો તો એ આત્મા છું એ ભાન ના ભૂલાય. આ કેટલાય માણસો, હજારો માણસ એવા છે કે એક ક્ષણ દાદાને ભૂલતા નહીં હોય. એવા હજારો માણસો છે. હવે કોણ તો આત્મા ભૂલાતો ના હોય કે કોણ તો દાદા ના ભૂલાતા. બેમાંથી એક દાદા એ પોતાના આત્મા જ છે. શું છે? દાદા એ તો યાદ આવે. દાદા સાયકલ ચલાવતા યાદ આવે એટલે એ ભૂલાય નહીં. એટલે આપણે એ કરી લાઈન ઓફ ડિમાર્કેશન નાખીએ ત્યાર પછી ભગવાનની કૃપા ઉતરે ત્યારે જુદું પડી જાય.
બરોબર છે
ને આત્મા ને પ્રકૃતિ જુદી પડી ગઈ
તો જ
પછી પુરુષ થયો એટલે પુરુષાર્થ શરૂ થયો.
બરોબર.
પ્રકૃતિથી જુદા થઈ પુરુષ પદે સ્થિર થયા, પ્રતિષ્ઠા બંધ થઈ પ્રતિષ્ઠિત ના જ્ઞાતા થયા.
આ જગતમાં જે પુરુષાર્થ ચાલે છે લૌકિક પુરુષાર્થ છે. કેવો છે?
લૌકિક પુરુષાર્થ.
એટલે ભ્રાંતિમાં
ભ્રાંતિનો પુરુષાર્થ.
આ સાચો પુરુષાર્થ અને આ સાચું ફળ આપે. અને પેલો પુરુષાર્થ તો ફળે કે ના ફળે?
નહીં ફળે. બરોબર છે.
એ પુણ્ય પાપ ના અધીન છે પેલો પુરુષાર્થ. અને આ પુણ્ય પાપ ના અધીન નથી. હવે આ સ્વતંત્ર પુરુષાર્થ થયો.
બરોબર.
એટલે હવે તમારે જેટલો પુરુષાર્થ કરવો એટલો
કરવો,
તમારે કર્યા કરવો. સમજ ને?
Read on.
This is how the entanglements will come to an end. When will the entanglements come to an end?
There are two viewpoints to solve this puzzle. One relative viewpoint, one real viewpoint. Relative and a real na line of demarcation એક તીર્થંકરો સિવાય કોઈની પાસે હતી નહીં. અરે આ લાઈન ઓફ ડિમાર્કેશન એક્ઝેક્ટ નાખી દઈ છે. શું નાખી દઈ? એક્ઝેક્ટ. આટલું રિલેટિવ આટલું રિયલ. સહેજ પણ ફેરફાર થાય ઝઘડા ચાલે. શું થાય? એટલે આખું સાધુ આચાર્ય બધા લાઈન ઓફ ડિમાર્કેશન માં ભૂલ થવાથી ઝઘડા ચાલુ જ રહ્યા કરે.
This is so tremendous. He is revealing the established principle. What is the reality? The relative and the real. The one for whom the real and the relative have been separated, he is called a scientist of the eternal elements. No one except for the omniscient ones can do this. Only if one has reached that high of a level can he do so. People keep saying, real and relative, real and relative. One has to remain in the worldly interactions, but in the real, all this is merely a knowledge of words. When the entanglement of the real and the relative comes to an end, the person will not see the world at fault. He will not have attachment or abhorrence for anyone. That is the high level he can reach. And we have attained this through grace, the knowledge to separate the real and the relative. So what is the solution? This realm is yours, and this realm is not yours. Do not believe that which is not yours to be yours, and do not step out of your realm. That is more than enough. This has been separated for us. The relative, Chandu is relative, you are real. All the relative is subject to Vyavasthit. You are not the doer. All the relative is in the form of files. It is not your form. Do not have possessiveness for it. It is a file. The words file, Vyavasthit is the doer, the relative is separate, and the real is separate. With this, the minus, the ego, the sense of I am the doer, and the sense of I am the sufferer, everything has been separated. And we have been made the self. This is how great this is. It is with grace that we attain the self and we separate from the relative. Now in the relative, there is no need to prevail in I-ness or my-ness or doership. Bring everything into the real. The self is my only form. Now, whatever is arising, if there is any suffering in the relative, it means that you believed something to be yours, or you believed yourself to be what you are not, or you became the doer, or you became the sufferer. Only then would the suffering arise. So the suffering is arising due to our mistake. No person or circumstance can cause us suffering. This is the only mistake we have to destroy in the relative. It has become set in our conviction that I am not this, I am this. But now we have to bring that into experience, that I am certainly not this, I am certainly this. Based on different proofs, if this understanding continues to set in, then the experience will continue to arise for us. So this much science, we have received the full subtle details here at the elemental vision.
શુદ્ધ ઉપયોગ એટલે શું? પોતાની જાતને શુદ્ધ જોઈને બીજાને શુદ્ધ જોવા. કોઈની અશુદ્ધિ દેખાય નહીં. તને ગાળો પડે તો તને એની અશુદ્ધિ ના દેખાય, તમે શુદ્ધ જુઓ. તને હમણાં માણસ ગાળો પડતો હોય તને અશુદ્ધિ ના દેખાય, એટલે નામ શુદ્ધ જુઓ.
આ વિજ્ઞાને કરીને જોવું એનું નામ જ શુદ્ધ ઉપયોગ ને?
હા, વિજ્ઞાન કર્યું છે. બધા નહીં તો કલાક રહેવું તો જોઈએ. જ્ઞાની પુરુષ ને આખો દિવસ રહે. થોડો વખત 5 કલાક 10 મિનિટ કઈ જતો રહ્યો તો 24 કલાક ચૂકે જ નહીં ને. એમની લાઈન માંથી ચૂકે નહીં. જ્યાદાતર એવું થવું પડશે ને, જ્યાદાતર એ ગામ જવું જ પડશે ને. પેલું સ્ટેશન તો એ જ છે ને, સેન્ટ્રલ સ્ટેશન તો જવું પડશે ને. બસના સ્ટેશન ઉતર્યાનો શું અર્થ?
What is this like? You can say, he is my nephew. How can he be called your nephew? I have a brother, and he is my brother's son. And what about him? He's my brother-in-law. Your brother-in-law? Are the nephew and brother-in-law? No, he's my wife's brother, so he's my brother-in-law, and he's my nephew. So the brother-in-law, the nephew, the uncle, do you merely speak these words, or do you remember everything? My wife's, sister's, husband. Do you have to remember all of this? It all prevails naturally and spontaneously. She is my elder sister-in-law, and I am her younger sister-in-law. How are you her younger sister-in-law? She's the wife of my husband's older brother, so she's my elder sister-in-law. Now I understand. Now do we have to keep arranging this? It prevails naturally and spontaneously. It prevails so much that she'll say, my mother-in-law and my two sister-in-laws got together and they were gossiping about me behind my back. So all of that, your other sister-in-law? She's my husband's sister. And the wife of my husband's younger brother is also my sister-in-law. And my husband's mother, that's my mother-in-law. All these calculations prevail for her. Similar to how this prevails, the state of the self prevails for the Gnani. The mother-in-law is a soul. The sister-in-law is also a soul. She is also a soul. She is also a pure soul. In what way are they the self? It's not merely in words. The self means he sees them as flawless, as non-doers, as pure souls. He sees as is. He doesn't have attachment or abhorrence at all. He sees them as nothing but flawless. I am not a daughter-in-law. I am a pure soul. One would have that Jagrati as well. I'm not a husband. This wife isn't mine. She's a pure soul. I'm also a pure soul. He doesn't miss out on Shuddh Upyog or the pure applied awareness as the self, even for a moment. Now keep it in Upyog or the applied awareness as the self. That's why Dada says not to miss seeing the pure soul the entire day. First see it at the gross level, then see it at the subtle level, the level of exactness. That happens only after attaining the right belief that I am a pure soul. And then put it into practice, apply it. Spend an hour or at least half an hour to analyze where you missed seeing the pure soul, who you did not see as the pure soul. Dada says, bring that into practice. It's possible. Speaking the absolute truth is possible.
Dada had said, I have spent countless lifetimes in the search for the Agna of Vyavasthit, scientific circumstantial evidences. Until I fully understood it and completely experienced it, I didn't talk about it. Until then, he did not talk about Vyavasthit or about the self. Because one can talk about the self as much as he wants, but if he becomes the doer, then the self will be lost again. Until the subtle distinction of who is the doer is realized, confusion will exist. Therefore, Dada has given us those subtle distinctions. Nobody is an independent doer. Vyavasthit is the doer. God is not the doer and you are not the doer. No one else is the doer either. Everyone is doing things as an instrumental doer. No one is independent. Everyone is an instrumental doer. In reality, no one is the doer. It happens. It is happening automatically. So the original talk of Lord Mahavir is included in that, in the Agna of Vyavasthit. He didn't refer to anyone as the doer.
And this was Dada's principle. Each evidence. If something happened, he would study it in so much detail as to why did it happen, how did it happen. He used to say, once we stepped out of Mamanipur wearing a nice long coat to attend someone's wedding. We were wearing brand new clothes, and then someone from above who was chewing betel leaves spat on me. And there were stains all over my clothes. So I looked up. That fellow ran inside. Then Dada thought, if it had happened a second earlier, it would have fallen in front of me. If it had happened a second later, it would have fallen behind me. But it fell on me. On what basis? Who brought us two together? Why did I come to this particular location? He spat, and it fell on me. He said, in doing so, the knowledge of Vyavasthit manifested in us. So many evidences and circumstances came to notice that we realize that this is based on scientific circumstantial evidences. It is not dependent on any one thing. So by continuing to study in this way, he said, we were just like you, but we would never see anyone at fault in any incident. We would analyze and conclude who the doer is. And ultimately, by discovering many evidences, when the knowledge manifested in him, the entire science was revealed.
અવસ્થા માત્ર કુદરતી રચના સમજે ને એક વાક્ય એટલું સમજે ને તો ભગવાન નો 48 આગળ શીખી ગયું. મનવચન કહાની અવસ્થા માત્ર આવડે તમને વાક્ય બોલતા આવડે?
અવસ્થા માત્ર કુદરતી રચના છે, તેનો કોઈ બાપોય રચના નથી અને તે વ્યવસ્થિત છે.
હા, એટલું જો આવડે ને 48 આગમ પૂરા થઈ ગયા. સાથી એટલે વાક્યમાં આટલું બધું હશે સાર ને
સંજોગોના આધારે ને
સંજોગના આધારે ને સાયન્ટિફિક સર્કમસ્ટન્શિયલ એવિડન્સ બધા સંજોગો બધા. કુદરત એટલે સંજોગો. કુદરત એ કોઈ વસ્તુ નથી. કુદરત એટલે બધા સંજોગોને ભેગું થવું એનું નામ કુદરત. સંજોગોને ભેગું થવાનો પ્રયત્ન થવા મળ્યો એનું નામ કુદરત. અને પ્રયત્ન પૂરો થયો એ સંજોગો ભેગા થઈ ગયા એનું નામ વ્યવસ્થિત.
સંજોગો પૂરા થયા એનું નામ વ્યવસ્થિત.
એટલું જ આવડી તો 48 આગળ વાળી ગયો. સત્સંગ કરવા જેવી રહેતી નથી. અમને કોઈની ભૂલ નહીં દેખાતી. એનું કારણ શું કે અમને અમને બધું જ્ઞાન હાજર હોય, પણ તમને આટલું વાક્ય રહે ને તો કોઈની ભૂલ જડશે નહીં. કે બોલો ને ફરી, તમે બોલો ને.
મન વચન કાયાની અવસ્થા માત્ર કુદરતી રચના છે,
તેનો કોઈ બાપોય રચના નથી. બાપોય કહ્યું એટલે લોકો બહુ મજા આવે છે, પછી ભડક નીકળી જાય છે. બાપોય નહીં એટલે કોઈ બાપોય નહીં ટકા બાપોય નથી. શું ભડક છે વગર ફોર્મ ના ઓણે કર્યું ફળે કર્યું ગ્રહોય કર્યું. ગ્રહો શું કરે? ગ્રહો એમની બહુ જોડે બેસી રહે કે અહીં આવે? ગ્રહો શું કરે બિચારા? હવની બહુ જોડે હોય છે. સૂર્યનારાયણ એમની બહુ જોડે હોય છે. એનો સ્વભાવ બતાવે છે. એનું પ્રકાશ છે બહાર પડ્યા કર્યા છે.
વંદન હો એ લિફ્ટ માર્ગી સતપુરુષ ને
અક્રમ મોક્ષ ના ભૂમિયા ભગવાન નાએ ઉપરીને.
બાપો કોઈ જગ કરતા નથી, ચેલેન્જ કોણે ફેંકિયા?
પરમાણુ પરમાણુએ ભરનાર સૂક્ષ્મતમ વીણ કોઈ ના.
મેરુ સમાન અચલ અડગ ધરતી ખોળે દિશે કોણ?
એ તો મારો દાદો ભગવાન, બીજા કોઈનું ગજું ના.
Even the filled stock of karma is considered discharge, and it is in the control of Vyavasthit. The filled stock means discharge, and discharge means it is in the authority of the non-self, which means it is subject to Vyavasthit. Dada doesn't see the person as a doer. Why does he have so much egoism? Why is he bragging so much? Why is he indulging in garvaras? Why is he having so much insistence? Why is he being so deceitful? Why is he having so much attachment? He never sees anything like this. Why? He knows it is the filled stock coming out. And who can you consider at fault if it is a filled stock? It is subject to Vyavasthit. Vyavasthit means whatever stock has been filled, whatever has been charged, that is being discharged. If we understand it in exactness, a thief's act of stealing is also a discharge, and a philanthropist's act of giving to charity is also a discharge. A deceitful person deceiving someone is also a discharge, and an arrogant person bragging is also a discharge. A sevak giving seva is also a discharge. Everything is a discharge. A priest carrying out rituals is also a discharge. A fraudster committing fraud is also a discharge. It is a discharge for us. If he wants to improve, he needs to improve the new causes. So Dada is given various terms: discharge, input and output, cause and effect. That which has been wound is unwinding. The stock of karma empties out with the same intents with which it was filled. The charged stock discharges. All these terms support the word vyavasthit. What did Dada see in Vyavasthit as to how the world is running? He saw it in such a way that he could then reveal this science, that this is what is happening.
First, these words file, file, and clear with equanimity. Need to be understood. The moment you say it's a file, the moment you refer to your mind, speech, and body as a file, they become separate. An exact line of demarcation is drawn. This is an incredible discovery of Dada's. This word file is from the English language, but it is more effective than the rest. In the chromic path, they say, this is the relative self, it is inanimate matter, it is the non-self, and I am the self. They keep saying all such things. However, the separation doesn't occur. Through the Gnan Vidhi, the demerit karma are burned to ashes and the self within is awakened. Then what is left after that? This file number 1. This word file fits perfectly. The moment you call it a file, it becomes something that is to be cleared. That awareness arises. Aren't there files in the office? Don't you clear them one after the other? Just like that, even this file needs to be cleared. Dada doesn't tell us to renounce our files. He tells us to clear them. So first and foremost is the word file. This is a tremendous discovery. Dada says the echoes of this word file will reverberate for thousands of years to come. Where did this English word come from? That too in Gujarat, in the Charota region of Gujarat. Such a discovery was made. The word file. Even the uneducated can immediately understand the word file. Especially after attaining Gnan, they immediately understand it. So our body has been called a file, file number 1. We have called ourselves a file. The one that we believe to be our own self for infinite lifetimes has been called a file. It has been separated. This is Dada's incredible discovery. A great philosopher said, Dada, you use this word file. You called yourself file number 1. This is the greatest spiritual victory. This is all that needs to be done in spirituality. The demarcation that these two are separate needs to be made. This happens for us through Gnan. Now we must continuously remain in the awareness of this demarcation. We have to remain in the awareness that it's a file.
Dada says that you only have to make a firm resolve. In Vyavasthit, suppose it is not cleared with equanimity at that time, but you have to make 100% firm resolve. Why is this so important?
That is how the law is. Based on the resolve that is made, the internal mechanism and the external mechanism will work according to that. If you have decided to go to Mumbai, then the inner tendencies will begin. You buy a ticket, plan your travel, everything begins. But if you haven't decided, then thousands of trains will come and leave, and you will not reach Mumbai. So this decision, there are steps to this. We have 4 steps. Actually, Dada makes us take the first step out of the 4. Decide that I want to clear it with equanimity. The second step comes later, because if the decision is not yet made, then how will the second step come? So he makes us take the first step. Decide that I want to clear it with equanimity. Until now, we felt, nobody can tell me anything. I won't listen to anyone. I want it to be transparent. I won't accept any lies. So then there's no point of clearing it with equanimity. There was only kshayak. I am correct and everyone else is wrong. Now we want to turn back. I want to clear it with equanimity. We don't want to have abhorrence towards the negative aspects or attachment towards the positive aspects. We want to maintain equanimity and clear it. Once we decide this, in a few places, Dada talks about how to clear it. The other person should be satisfied with you. You should not hurt him. You should not see his faults. That's how you should clear it with equanimity. Do not have abhorrence for the one who insults you or attachment for the one who respects you. Keep equanimity in this way, because the insult or respect is given to file 1, not to you. Why are you getting upset? So gradually, you reach the subtle level. The first step is to decide. Then the second step is to get into the details. Then wherever lapsed, do pratikraman. And the fourth step is to not protect the mistakes. With this, it'll be cleared with equanimity exactly. But this is where it begins from. Once you decide on something, it gradually begins. Once the belief sets in that I want to clear it with equanimity, then the knowledge arises as how to clear it with equanimity. Through books, satsangs, by observing people. Didn't that lady observe someone working selflessly? She realized that this is how it should be. So then that energy will immediately manifest in her.
વધારામાં શું કહે છે કે ફાઇલનો સંભાવે નિકાલ કરવાનો કરે. શું કહ્યું? એ વાંધો છે. આ થાય તેનો વાંધો નથી. તું તારી મારે નક્કી હોવું જોઈએ મારે સંભાવે નિકાલ કરવો. પછી ન થાય આ ફાઇલો જ વાંચર્યા, બીજે કોઈ વાંચનાર નથી. બીજે બધે વિતરાગ છો તમે.
ન થાય તો શું કરવું? પછી ભાવ હોય પછી છતાં ન થાય તો શું કરવું?
ન થાય તો સમજાય નહીં. આપણે ભાવ છે, આપણે નક્કી એવું રાખવું જોઈએ. ન થાય તોય પણ આપણે આપણું ફેરવવું નહીં કે હવે સંભાવના ભર્યું નિકાલ કરવો, એવું નહીં. મારે સંભાવના નિકાલ કરવો જ છે. આપણો ભાવ છોડવો નહીં. ન થાય એ વ્યવસ્થા આપણા બધા પ્રયત્નો સંભાવ નિકાલ કરવાનો હોવા જોઈએ. તો
એ તો બરોબર હતા. એમને મારે બધી ચીકણી ફાઇલો છે ને એટલે જરા એમ થયા કરે છે.
ચીકણી તમારે 2 ને 4 બધાને લોકોને બધાને હોય ચીકણી. અત્યારે બધી ચીકણી લઈને આવ્યા છે ને, અને ચીકણી ના લાયા હતા જ્ઞાની પણ કઈ 12 વર્ષ ના પણ 12 વર્ષથી બેહી રહેશે કેટલી ચીકણી લાયા. આત્માની જે શક્તિ છે ને પ્રગટ ના થાય જ્યાં સુધી આપણે હું કરી આલું તમારી શક્તિ પ્રગટ થયા વગર શું થાય? હું ફાઇલ નો નિકાલ કરવો તેવો નક્કી કરીએ ત્યાંથી આવરણ તૂટશે. એમાં તમારે કશું આમાં મહેનત છે નહીં.
ભાવ કરવાનો છે.
ભાવ કરવાનો મનમાં નક્કી કે ફાઇલ નો નિકાલ કરવાનો છે. પેલો ફાઇલ વાંકી થયા કરે તો આપણે ફાઇલ નો નિકાલ કરવો. નિરાલંબ ના થાય, નિરાલંબ અવલંબન રહી જાય.
અવલંબન થઈ જાય.
અવલંબન રહી જાય ત્યાં સુધી એબ્સોલ્યુટ ના થાય. એબ્સોલ્યુટ નિરાલંબ આત્મા એ એબ્સોલ્યુટ આત્મા. ત્યાં સુધી આપણે જવાનું છે. ભલે આ ભાવમાં નહીં જવાય તેનો વાંધો નથી, આવતા ભાવ તો થઈ જ જવાનું છે. પણ આ ભાવમાં આપણે આજ્ઞા પાડી ની એ જ ઉકેલ છે. શું સંભાવ નિકાલ કરવાની બહુ મોટી આજ્ઞા.
એ કહે છે કે આ બધું કરતા કરતા 4 ડિગ્રી તાવ આવી જાય ઘણી વખત.
એ તાવ આવી જાય છે ને તે જ નીકળી જાય છે બધું.
તો જ નીકળી જાય.
નિર્બળતા એ જ નીકળી જાય છે ને.
નિર્જરા
એ જ નિર્બળતા. અને જેટલી નિર્બળતા નીકળી એટલું બળવાન પણ આપણે ઉત્પન્ન થાય. પહેલા હતું તેના કરતા વધારે બળવાન થાય.
Someone had asked Dada, Dada, did you follow the 5 agnas? How did you accumulate credit in the account of the pure soul? Dada said, why do I have to accumulate credit in the account of the pure soul? The moment the knowledge manifested within me, everything became complete. I had the clear and distinct experience of the pure soul. That's when I got the clarity. Now that we have the conviction of the pure soul, the more we accumulate credit in that account, we will be able to reach the stage of clear and distinct experience. What do we have to accumulate? What types of things do we have to accumulate in the account of the pure soul? We want to progress to the point where we reach the state of experience.
So with regards to accumulating credit in the account of the pure soul, are the other 4 agnas included in that?
Yes, they are included. What is the 5th agna? It means to remain in satsang, do the vidhis, read Dada's books, follow the agnas. That is the 5th agna. Many people think, I am following the agnas, so what is the need to go to satsang? No, by listening to satsang, by being in the environment of satsang, the veils will break and the energy to reach a higher state will increase. This is in the February issue of Dadavani, the essential instruments for Purusharth. Someone was asking this morning what to do for Purusharth. Dada says, keep following the 5 agnas and keep coming here to meet us. That is considered satsang. What other satsang will you do? If not here, where else would you be? In kusang, an association that takes you away from the self. You will be at your shop. Can your shop be considered satsang? You don't have to say it out loud, but understand it within. All that which makes you forget the self is called kusang. All that which causes illusory attachment is called kusang. And all that which awakens the self is called satsang. Dada says, what other satsang will you do? Keep detailing the 5 agnas. What a great point. Detailing means to keep analyzing them. How much are you able to follow them and where did you lapse? Keep this jagrati. He says, what other satsang? The moment you become free, find out where you lapsed and figure out how they can be followed, how much are you able to follow them, which agnas are not being followed. Set all this jagrati. And if you are sitting free and reading Dada's books, then that's fine. They are worth reading, but you should not have insistence on reading them. However, have insistence on reading the Charan Vidhi. Once in a while, if you miss out on reading the books, it is fine, but do not miss out on reading the Charan Vidhi. We have said to do it once a day, but actually, it should be done 10 times a day. There you go, do the Charan Vidhi 10 times. In such a small book, all the required instruments have been given. The Namaskar Vidhi. It is a non-sectarian Namaskar Vidhi. By reciting it, so much of our Viradna is washed away. Because a person belonging to the Jain religion would have done Viradna for the Vaishnava religion and vice versa. All that Viradna is washed away, and we get blessings from all the celestial beings. We attain a state free of any obstructions for going to liberation. That is the power of the Namaskar Vidhi. Even the prayer to Lord Simandar Swami is tremendous. We pray to the celestial beings to bless us so that we reach Lord Simandar Swami in Mahavidesh Kshetra without any obstructions. We ask for forgiveness for all the mistakes made in this life. So these are so tremendous. Even the 9 kalams are very powerful. Dada says, we have been doing this for the last 35 years. If a single negative word is uttered, we would unwind it within. Give me the absolute energy to not speak harsh or hurtful language. Give me the energy to speak kindly and softly. The 9 types of kalams are so powerful. With these, all the types of faults of the worldly life are washed away. The Samayik Vidhi towards the end and all the artis, they are all amazing. So all of these instruments, they are considered essential instruments. If you keep doing this much, then the awareness of the self will keep getting a boost. The worldly life will not cling to us and bondage will not arise.
When we remain in the awareness of the pure soul and keep observing our file 1, when we see file 1's faults and have file 1 do pratikraman, ask for forgiveness, file 1 should do pratikraman at each and every moment. People say there is no pratikraman or samayik to be done in akram. No, that's not true. The pratikraman and samayik that was done during Lord Mahavir's time, that is the same pratikraman and samayik being done today in this akram path. From moment to moment, you have to do shoot on sight pratikraman for the faults that occur. This is how it was done back then. And samayik means to remain in the self and see your faults from moment to moment. Keep observing your relative self, the mind, the intellect, the chit, and the ego. What are the thoughts that are arising? We are able to recognize any negative thoughts that arise right away, and we immediately put a brake on them and make file 1 do pratikraman. So this has started for us, and it is constantly going on. And if there is anything that is left, we tell file 1 to sit down and do it. Everywhere else it is okay, but on this path of liberation, at every step, ask the Gnani before doing anything. On the Kramik path, Srimad Rajchandra has said, he himself was with Lord Mahavir. He was in the assembly of the Lord. Yet, without asking for permission, it was the Kramik path. Without taking the permission of his guru, he went to use the bathroom. Just by doing that, he bound 900 lives. He says, that is why I have been wandering until now. Otherwise, wouldn't I have attained liberation then? He himself has written this.
Yes, his stage was tremendous.
He was at such a high stage. However, because it was the Kramik path, there were so many restrictions. We don't have any such restrictions. But if there are major decisions to be made in your life, at least ask. And communication has become so easy nowadays. You can just call and ask. Otherwise, you get so confused. You experience so much confusion for 6 to 12 months. So much suffocation and confusion. You don't bind karma, but why are you wasting your time in suffocation? We are here to show you the way. Your confusion will come to an end easily. You will feel at peace. Your problems may or may not get solved, but you will feel at peace. You will find a way to solve your problems. There are so many easy ways to communicate. Communication has become so easy.
It is very easy.
In the end, if nothing else, get in touch with us via email. You can call us. It is so easy to call. Global communication has brought us so close, and it is so quick.
It feels as though you are here.
Yes. All your confusions will get sorted out. Not only that, we meet each other every week through telesatsang.
આજ્ઞા એ ધર્મ અને આજ્ઞા એ તપ હવે દેખાડશે એ પૂનમનો જાત.
Dada used to say, my agnas are the agnas of Lord Mahavir himself. What Lord Mahavir was saying, I am giving it to you in a formatted way. People are not capable of understanding all the scriptures, experiencing them, determining their crux, and accomplishing that. So, these are the agnas of the Lord. If you can understand them, your work will get done. Not even a single subatomic particle here is outside the Lord's agnas. This goes for all the Gnanis. Their talks are the original talks of the Lord, and not even a single subatomic particle would be different. Just like if we leave from here to go to Delhi, let's say we are coming to Ahmedabad from Delhi, we get to the station, the second to last station comes. For example, the Khodia station before Mehsana. We came all the way from Delhi to here. Then we say, Ahmedabad has not come yet, Ahmedabad has not come yet. But you have reached the boundary of Ahmedabad. The railway line is correct. We just have to go a few steps further and we will reach there. Similarly, these talks of Gnan and these talks of the Agnas that Dada has given us, they are the same as the talks of Lord Mahavir. The only difference is the Lord has reached all the way to the last station and Dada has one more station left to go. However, he takes us that far. We had no way of reaching there. If a person can't find any means of travel, he can at least walk from the Khodiar station to Ahmedabad. If he leaves in the morning, he can reach there by the evening time. Otherwise, we have wandered so much. There is only one line. It is the same track. So we should feel very fortunate and in awe that we have received this. It is in our hands as to how much we want to benefit from it. Dada says, we have given you liberation in the palm of your hand. All the scriptures, all the talks of the religious gurus, Dada has boiled the entire ocean of knowledge. Just like we boil milk to make cream out of it. Similarly, Dada has boiled the Gnan and given us its extract in the palms of our hands in the form of the 5 Agnas. In the form of the 5 Agnas and the state of the pure soul. He has given it to us in short. He has given us the entire ocean in the palms of our hands, in essence form.
અમે જે આપ્યું છે તમને પરફેક્ટ આપેલું છે, કશું બાકી નહીં રાખેલું. તમને વાપરતો આવડે તો મારું. તમને લાગે છે પરફેક્ટ આપેલું છે? કશું બાકી રાખ્યું નથી. પરફેક્ટ આપ્યું છે. મહાવીર જેવું રહેવાય. ભગવાન મહાવીર જેમ વર્તાતા એમ વર્તા. તમારી જો આજ્ઞામાં રહો, પણ આજ્ઞામાં નથી રહેતા એ જ. તમે જયારે આજ્ઞા છોડો તરત સફોકેશન થશે. શું કહ્યું? આજ્ઞા છોડો પછી અમારી આજ્ઞા જેવી છે, સફોકેશન અડવા ના દે. સ્પર્શ જ ના થવા દે. હવે આજ્ઞા એ ધર્મ તો હોવો જ જોઈએ.
Gnanis existed in the past, they existed in the present, and they will certainly be there in the future. So then why are we saying that Dada Bhagwan was a great Gnani? One that has never been seen and will never be seen again. Please explain. We may have met Gnanis in the past. Lord Mahavir is considered much greater than Dada Bhagwan, yet he lived 2500 years ago. So in this time cycle, in the 5th era, for us, someone like Dada Bhagwan is the Gnani Purush, and he is also called an Akram Vignani Purush, an Akram scientist. And he has given us such a science that for our time cycle has never been seen and will never be seen again. It has been given in our language, in a simple, straightforward, local language, and it is useful in day-to-day life. 1 + 1 is equal to 2. He gave the entire science in such a language that even a child can understand it. Did you understand? So there are a lot of differences. In this, there is no penance, renunciation, meditation, religious practices, or worship. Dada hasn't told us to do any sort of rituals or activities. It is all about understanding. As such, we are simply coming to this satsang and discussing. It is actually through grace that the self awakens. To attain this without doing anything whatsoever, that can be considered such an incredible spiritual power of Dada's. What have we done in this?
Yes, all of us experience that.
We haven't done anything at all. For example, a friend of yours invites you to come to Gnan Vidhi. You say, fine, register me. You are registered. You participate in the 2-hour Gnan Vidhi. You have to speak for 1 hour and listen to the 5 Agnas for 1 hour. And then, the awareness of I am separate and Chandu is separate begins in you. What hard work did you do?
Nothing.
So that which cannot happen in 1,000,000 lives has been attained in just 2 hours through grace. Can that not be considered a great spiritual wonder?
Yes, it can.
Living a worldly life, he had a wife, he had children, and he lived a worldly life throughout, without renunciating anything. He was an Atma Gnani, a self-realized one, living a worldly life. Actually, he was an Atma Gnani who was so close to Keval Jnana. That is why it is said that no one like this has ever been seen and will never be seen again. He continuously prevailed in the results as the self. Even higher than remaining separate from the results of the non-self, he prevailed in the results as the self. He prevailed in the results as the self. Yet he lived a worldly life. He wore a coat, a hat, shoes. And in this life, he didn't do any penance, renunciation, meditation, or religious practices. And yet, he could remain in the state of complete vitragta, or total absence of attachment and abhorrence. Despite having a business and a wife, he could remain in the state of complete vitragta. That is called a great spiritual wonder. It is the 11th spiritual wonder, the extraordinary spiritual wonder of a Gnani leading a worldly life. And the entire world will continue to be extraordinarily impressed with such a Gnani.
That's true. Jai Sachidanand.
We do Dada's darshan and ask for energies. In that, we should primarily ask for energies to progress on the path of liberation and attain completion. To reach completion in the knowledge of the self which I have attained, I want to continuously remain in the Gnani's 5 agnas. Please give me the energy for that. In worldly life, celibacy is beneficial for this. So you can also ask for energy to practice celibacy. That until I go to liberation, I want to continuously practice celibacy through my mind, speech, and body. The karmic accounts of this life have to be cleared with mutual agreement. But today, we can nurture the intents for our future lives. More importantly, we should strongly nurture the intent for Jagat Kalyan. O Dada Bhagwan, I have attained the knowledge of the self. My work is going to be done. I will be liberated. I have found the path of liberation. May the world attain this. May the world attain the happiness that I have attained.
किरण काजळ काळा अज्ञान करमनी ज्ञानी सद्गुरु अजुवाड़े पूनम दादाना शरणा पावन पगरण गुरु पूर्णिमा उजू हरदम निरिच्छत आशा श्रुत ज्ञान इच्छत अहोनीश जागृत ज्ञानी कुंजन शुद्धात्मना स्वपर दर्शन माणे कठारी नित्य पूनम माणे कठारी नित्य पूनम माणे कठारी